Hello and welcome to the Jules with Gem podcast. I am your host GiGi and I hope you're well. I just wanted to say thank you all so much for the support, your interest, your questions. It all goes such a long way. While you're at it, please don't forget to hit that sub button to be notified when I do post new videos. I'm continuing my Breaking Down the Signs Energy series, and I just have to say a disclaimer though, that the information I am sharing with you is just to explain the energies and that not everything is set in stone. I think of astrology as my cosmic parent, or rather my cosmic guidance, and that you are able to work with the energies in order to achieve your current soul mission so that you can evolve into the next phase of life. And as I always say, the only constant is change. I cannot stress the importance of knowing your birth chart, as it acts as guidance for your soul's evolution, at least in my humble opinion and experience. Without any further ado, let's get down to it, shall we? I will start off by taking a look at well-known South African Aries, and they are Aries, Lele Khumalo, Basetsana Khumalo, Thandiso Mazwai, Jacob Zuma, Alan Gray, and last but not least, Alfred Ndombela. The cardinal fire sign Aries, born between March 21st and April 19th. Like, listen guys, I'm even running out of breath just talking about Aries. I can already feel their energy. I can literally feel their energy in me right now. Gosh, where do I start? Aries energy. These are the real movers and shakers of the zodiac. They really just want to spring into action. They just want to get things done. When I think of the energy, I imagine them being people who really just don't care. I mean, they do care, but not enough for, the opinions of others to kind of sway them from what it is that they want to do. I think it's that their belief in themselves and their capabilities is just on another level. It's actually inspiring. It leaves others in awe. They are quite blunt, they're straightforward, they know exactly what they want, and a lot of the times they're very uncompromising and even nonchalant or unbothered by what may be happening around them. Their element is in fire, so that means that they're not as selfish as people would like to think. Because if you think of fire, how does fire keep burning? Of course it needs that main element of oxygen to keep burning. So I think when we're trying to understand the energies of the signs, especially fire signs, because fire signs are the only sign that actually need other elements to keep burning. That element obviously being oxygen. If you think about air doesn't really need any other element. It just is. Water doesn't need any other element. Maybe water and oxygen. Earth doesn't really need any other element, maybe oxygen. But what I'm trying to say is that it needs other elements to keep that fire burning. So I think it's very important to understand that when we are looking at Aries as a whole. And also their sister sign, their opposite sign is Libra, so they do need some aspects to balance them out. But before we go too deep, some basic facts about Aries. Their polarity is negative, their quality is cardinal, the element being fire, the symbol for Aries being the ram, the planetary ruler being Mars, their opposite sign being Libra. Parts of the body ruled by Aries would be the head. Baby, you have to listen and just kind of forget everything that you have heard, because listen. Okay, first of all, Aries represents the spring equinox, and all that means is that it is the first day of spring when we have the perfect balance between night and day. So Aries season actually represents the first day of the astrological year as well. So that is why Aries is number one. Like everywhere when people are breaking down horoscopes, when people are talking about star signs, they always start with Aries, then they go on to Taurus, etc., etc. So Aries is the start of the of the astrological year. Aries is also the first sign, if we go in order or in accordance to the zodiac wheel. So I don't know how much more clearer I can actually make it, or I can actually say how Aries is just number one on all levels. Can I make it any more clear how much the sign actually deserves to be number one? Because it's their birthright. It is essentially their right given to them by the cosmos. They are cosmic, birthright to just be number one. We could even go as far as looking at life path number one, and these are the people that are driven, that are goal orientated, who possess a lot of determination, dedication, and enough willingness to tackle any challenge that they face and face it head on. These are not the people that are going to chicken out and be like, oh my God, I just can't. I need some more time. Can somebody just give me more time? No, these are the people that are going to be like, okay, let's roll. Whatever life throws at them, let's roll. They just roll with the punches. And that is, of course, an admirable quality to have. I mean, who wouldn't want to be that strong? Who wouldn't want to have an element of, no matter what life throws at me, I'm still going to conquer. I'm still going to come out of this number one. I'm still going to be the best version of myself. There's nothing that can really, take me to the ground unless, I'm in the box and I'm dead, type of situation. But anything else, they are going to be dealing with it head on with so much guts, so much passion, so much dedication, and just all sorts of awesomeness. Again, life path number one, these are the leaders essentially, and they may not even be your typical orthodox leaders, like, a CEO of a major, 500 fortune company, or, a manager of, a store or a restaurant. No, they might even just be leaders in fashion. They might be leaders when it comes to music. They might be leaders when it comes to art, film. They are definitely the trendsetters in some capacity. Why? Because people look up to them to know what to do next, to know what's the next thing to anticipate. They are the people that are like, okay, this is what I think we should do, and everybody should go in that direction, and everybody naturally goes in that direction. They are natural leaders. A lot of the time, even when they speak, even when they do things, a lot of the time people agree with them because they make so much sense. They are also intelligent and smart, and most of the time everything is driven by passion. It's driven by intuition. It's driven by, we only live once. And that is just the nature of Aries. If I can put it, in a nutshell, that is the nature of Arian energy. They just demand to be number one because essentially they are number one. And of course, some of them may take this for granted, but, let's just allow them. Let's just allow. They are alpha. They are just the alpha. And speaking of alpha, Aries being the sign that actually is the first sign, the alpha. And then when you think about it, you think of, Pisces as being the omega. So it's like the alpha and omega. When you think about alpha, you think, alpha woman, alpha man, you think dominance, you think power. You just think of, people that are here to do a certain thing. They're here to do a certain thing and to achieve it. They're not just here to do whatever it is that they know what they're assigned to do. Another quality about them is that most of them know what their purpose on this earth is. A lot of them are in tune with what it is that they're supposed to do. I think that's why they carry out their tasks so well, and they're so passionate about them, because it's like, well, I don't have time. I don't know how much time I have on this realm, on this planet Earth, in this dimension, but however much time I have, best believe I am going to make sure that I am doing what I need to be doing. I think that's why a lot of the time they're not bothered by, what other people think of them, because it's not about them. It's not about that. It's about what they're here to achieve. But before we divulge into that, their planetary ruler Mars is all about masculinity, raw passion, raw energy, just everything raw, and now. I would actually akin Mars energy to, you know how lions, after they've killed a springbok, and how they just all just go and chow the meat off, and just like, actually, fun fact, I learned on Facebook, I'm not too sure if this is actually true, but I learned on Facebook how lions actually have such a harsh tongue that if a lion were to actually lick you, it could lick the flesh off of, the animals that they actually hunt. And that's actually one of the things I'd be asking myself. I'd be like, okay, so how do they actually get the meat off with such precision? I thought it was their teeth that helped with this, but no. They also have the tongue, which helps with that. That's just an interesting fact I wanted to put out there. But just imagining lions just like feasting off of the springbok and really going at it and really making sure that they get every single piece of that meat down to the bone. That is literally how Aries go. They go hard at everything. Their goals, their partnerships, their relationships. It's like any aspect of their life will be met with so much guts, so much passion. Ooh, so much everything. Like, they like really everything with them is they go hard for everything, honestly. They have so much drive, so much passion. I think this is also why they can burn themselves out so much, because everything is done in a rush, it's done in a rush, it's done with passion, it's done with, the utmost desires. It's like every single part of their bodies is involved in whatever it is that they are doing, that, they just have this passion that just never seems to run out. They just have this flame that just never seems to die off. But then their bodies, sometimes, their bodies just never catch up in time. So they have to have moments where they, they relax and gather up all their energy and then, start afresh. Like how Libra would, not really get involved in everything, just kind of just be neutral. But of course with Arian energy, it's just very hard to be neutral. They're either in it or not. So it's just, I don't even know what to say, but when it comes to Aries energy, it's very much like Scorpion energy. They either love you or they hate you. And of course, Mars is a co-ruler to Pluto, so it all makes sense. It's just all interconnected. The opposite sign being Libra, as I'd mentioned earlier. I feel as though if Aries could just incorporate a bit of balance into their lives, that they really would be a well-rounded sign. Of course, this is just me putting it out there. I know that, Arians won't listen at all. I'd also mentioned Aries season, and Aries season actually also represents, the first day of the astrological year. So again, how can I make it any more clearer that first day of the astrological year? Can I make it any more clearer how Aries is just number one on all levels, whereas Libra is like, no, homie, let's back up a bit. Let's try and balance this thing out, and Aries is just like, no, fam, you need to just be on your own when you are doing your thing sometimes, because they understand how different energies can pull them back sometimes. And that's also the struggle that Libra has. It's like Libra has a challenge of balancing its energies and energies with people, because obviously Libra is the sign of the balancing act. It's the sign of relationships, partnerships, any type of ship that you might find yourself in. And then you have Aries, who's just like, well, I can do it on my own, I don't need nobody, whereas sometimes they do need people around them to appreciate the energy that they do possess. Otherwise they just be walking around being angry and stuff, and that's never really a good thing. So where Libra is kind of calm, Aries is impatient, where Aries is confrontational, Libra is passive. Where Mars is masculine, Venus, which is the ruler of Libra, is sort of feminine and very passive and just very laid back. And you have Mars, which is like, and it's like go, and it's like go, and it's just, you know, the perfect balance. I love the fact that Libra is actually the opposite sign, and I feel as though Aries could learn a lot actually from their sister sign. I think we all could learn a lot from our opposite signs, because essentially, you know, those are the qualities that we need in order to you know, be well-rounded. So myself, as you know, a Capricorn, I know that my sister sign is Cancer, so if I could incorporate, you know, a little bit more emotional intelligence when it comes to the way that I deal with people, especially, instead of, you know, considering or compartmentalizing people as just things or people as just work, then I'd probably have a lot more stronger, better relationships. But of course, you know, it's all a work in progress. I definitely am, you know, I am working on that. That's one of the things that I know. It's also part of my shadow work as well. I know that I have to incorporate that. And I think being a parent has also helped a lot with that, because with, you know, with parenting, you constantly, you know, it's like you are just emotional. It doesn't take much to trigger you, really. If your child is crying, you also just feel so sad, because you're like, oh my gosh, what's going on, you know, unless, of course, that's only when you don't know what's going on, you know. But in the general scheme of things, you know, you're always just triggered. They could trigger your happiness. You know, just hearing them laughing triggers you in a way that is nice and so warm. It's like really a fuzzy feeling. And but besides, you know, being a parent, there are some things that you need to work on alone, and that is what Aries energy is all about. Just working on things alone. And I think if they were to appreciate the people around them and be like, actually, I do appreciate your presence in my life, I really love it, they would be able to have amazing relationships with those around them, instead of discarding them as though they are not necessary, or discarding their views or their opinions. Because, you know, that's another thing that Aries really doesn't like. They don't like it when people discredit them or don't acknowledge them. But yeah, it's like I said, where Aries is flames, Libra is air. So it's definitely like the best balance. I think they could learn a lot from each other, these elements. I also believe that, you know, all signs have the sixth sense. I believe every sign is blessed with some way of knowing things about themselves or about the environment around them. So it's just that, of course, it's more prominent in others than it would be in the other signs. But, you know, we all have it. And the thing about it is that all we need to do is just to listen and kind of know the difference between other voices and your intuition. And once we know the difference, then it would be easier to activate it, and then it would be easier for us to make use of it more often. So I think when it comes to Aries, I think their sixth sense is basically just doing what it is that they feel they should be doing at that particular moment. Remember, for them, everything is moment to moment. Everything is action. Everything is passion. Everything is doing. Everything is about, you know, everything is a verb to them. Everything needs to be done and done now. If they have a thought in their head, okay, let's roll. If they have a feeling in their heart, okay, let's roll. Let's talk about it. Let's speak to someone. Let's hug it out. Let's argue about it. Let's, you know, there's something has to always be done. They are a physical sign. It's a physical energy, you know. Fire is something that you can see physically. Of course, all the other elements you can see physically, but I'm just trying to, you know, re-emphasize the point that I'm trying to make here. It is a physical thing and constantly needs to be blazing, is what I'm saying. Also, like when I'm attributing it to physical, something that you can see physical, it's something that constantly needs to keep on moving, because, you know, a flame is movement. You know, like a flame is not just there, like, you know, plateaued and just still. It is an energy that just constantly is moving, so that you can see the life in it. Like Aries constantly needs to be moving. For them, it's a sign. It's a sign of life. So, you know, you can even akin it to, if you understand that they have the spirit of a warrior. And what does a warrior do? A warrior takes instructions. And where does it take instructions from? It usually takes instructions from the head, the superintendent, or the king. So it's no surprise that, you know, whatever the first thought that comes to mind, that's exactly what will be done. Not too much consideration will be given to any other thoughts after that. If it's popped into their heads, that's all the validation that they need. It's the same way when a king gives an instruction. It's not a debate or, an opportunity to discuss anything really. It's more of just do as I say, and I've said what I said, And I, for one, can appreciate this. I can appreciate the ability to listen to themselves and their needs. And I think some of the time we shouldn't get it confused with being selfish. It's not really about being selfish. Sometimes it's just, it's very easy for us to degrade the nature of something when we don't understand it, or to speak negatively about it because it's something that we don't understand. When you think of warriors, when a warrior goes out into war, they arrive as a team, yes. They can chant as a team, yes. They will work together as a team, yes. They will probably go down as a team, yes. They are instinctively aware of this, but they're also instinctively aware of the fact that they might die by the sword or the spear or the gun or whatever ammo is actually being used at that point in time. And by then, it's no longer really about team effort. It's literally that warrior against its opponent. And I'd like to think that that's how they think. That's how they think. At the end of the day, we're all sharing the planet and its contents. However, we will all have to face our own demons. We will all have to face death, or not even death, but we'll all have to face a transition of one physical form to another. And they know this. And I think that's what they wish that people would understand about them too. We all have to face our demons. It's really nobody's responsibility to save anyone. It's your responsibility, yours and yours alone. So Aries just don't want people depending on them for things that they should be providing for themselves, essentially. Most fire signs, I think, are like this, actually. I think most of them feel like, listen, yes, I'm in your life, but please have your own life. Do your own things. I can't always be here and just here for you and just, So I think that's also why they exude so much confidence, because the confidence that they have is not really dependent on anything else other than what they believe about themselves. And it's usually positive. It's usually how they perceive themselves in their own eyes. They perceive themselves as, being the greatest, as being the best, as being that or being that so and also in a world of social media and distractions and bullying that's at an all-time high, I wish we could all have the dose of the pill that they so effortlessly enjoy without a prescription. The other day, actually, I went to collect my driver's license, and mind you, it had been there for some time, I think about a year or so, because I'd actually done my license just before lockdown. And for some reason, my anxiety was through the roof. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, what if I actually get there and they retest me on things that, I've done before. Like, I know, very random. Of course, they wouldn't do that. And I thought to myself, what is it about the color red? As I remembered, the rules of the road suddenly flashing before my eyes, because of course we were asked about the rules of the road. Like, that's the first thing that you would be asked when you're trying to get your driver's license. You will be asked, you will first do the test, and the test is about the rules of the road, and you will see red a lot of the time. So besides the color being code for stop or danger, why do people notice it? Why, I was asking myself, what is the association or the psychology behind the color? And of course, your girl went and did her due diligence to see what's the deal. So in psychology, I was reading up that psychology has to do with danger, it has to do with warning, it has to do with excitement, it has to do with, energy, aggression, dominance, passion, and desire. So It's also interesting to note that red, the color red, is also a color that evokes the most emotion out of people. So it's very fitting to see how these are also all themes in Aries energy. You notice the color red the same way you would notice an Aries. Like, I mean, come on, there's no way you will not notice, that energy step into a room, because already they have so much confidence. And, confidence really is something that is so underrated. I think if you're confident in yourself, you're confident in your abilities, you're confident that you are that, really there's nothing that can stop you, and it actually changes your life. It actually changes your perception of things a whole lot if you're able to take on that energy. And like I mentioned, their energy just screams, notice me, give me the attention I deserve. And if you don't, they might explode, of course, and of course they'll just forgive you seconds later. But let's not underestimate them, because essentially their ruling planet is Mars, which is also the co-ruler of Scorpio, Pluto. So a lot could go wrong between them seeing red and eventually cooling down to blue. So let's not take that for granted. I appreciate the fact that you will always kind of know where you stand with them, even if it's not on the same ground. They will be honest about how they feel about something, which is comforting to those around them. They won't really do anything that they don't want to do. And having said that, they have the biggest hearts that burn with passion, sexual desire, or otherwise. And of course their anger is also one thing for the books. So you might want to work on that, Aries. Everyone without fail, always mentions the anger of Aries. And I think it mostly has to do with how they just can't believe that you just dismiss their advance, like the audacity. How do you not see or even acknowledge the fact that they are so great? Like, how can you not think that I'm amazing? Or, how can you not have anything positive to say about me or the things that I'm doing or the things that I'm into? Again, they're number one, so respect them. That is basically how they look at things. And just as quickly as they might get riled up about things, is as quickly that they will face, a burnout. Some facts and myths about Aries. Aries are rude. I think this is both a fact and a myth. I think it's a fact because they can come across as rude in an attempt to being honest. However, Aries, please remember that there is a way of being truthful without being harsh. But I also think it's a myth because their energy is so quick. So usually there just is no time to really think about what spews out of their mouth, and it can get them into sticky situations. I have Mars in the 3rd house, and 3rd house rules communication. So a lot of the time I do find myself in some sticky situations because of the way I may have said something, or the way it might have rubbed somebody the wrong way, and I'm just always having to explain. I'll make jokes sometimes and people don't find it funny, and then I have to explain, and then it gets boring. And then number 2, Aries has a short temper. This is definitely facts. I don't even think we should even elaborate on this one because we all know this one. I mean, if Aries has misunderstood something or misinterpreted something, best believe that seconds later you will know exactly how they feel about whatever it is that was said. Number 3, they have confidence. This is definitely facts. I find myself in awe sometimes of the confidence that they exude. It's just really, really inspiring. It's like you feel like you can almost be and do anything with them around. Number 4, they have the biggest hearts. This is definitely facts. I think that when they are in love or when they are in a really good mood, they laugh the loudest, they laugh the hardest, they love the loudest as well. And it's really a beautiful sight to see. I mean, if you can think about Aries guy that you know of, if they are in a relationship and they really adore the person that they are with, everybody's going to know. Like, every single body is going to know. It might even irritate some people, but they will just be gushing with awe and compliments and just everything under the sun that's amazing to say about said person. So it's really nice to see that, especially when it comes from when it comes from the gents, because I think with the gents, it's so difficult sometimes to get an emotional response out of them. A lot of guys do come across as, emotionally unavailable. So it's definitely refreshing to see guys really gush over their partners and, the relationships that they have with, women, or even with, the same sex. Like even between guys as friends. Like, it's really refreshing to see when guys appreciate their friends, appreciate their uncles, their dads. It's really a nice sight to see, and they'll definitely be the loudest about it. Number 5, they are bossy. This is facts. Somebody has to lead at the end of the day, right? Number 6, they have no self-control. This is a bit of both. I think it's a fact because, they are considered impulsive, because every thought that they think of, that they think is fitting for that moment, will be done. But I think it's also just a myth, because at the end of the day, it's like, you only live once. YOLO. Number 7, they are selfish. This is definitely a fact. They are and can be. However, it's also a myth, because there's actually a method to the madness. They believe that, we are all responsible for our own happiness. And, everyone should see things that way. You cannot expect another human being essentially to take control of, what is supposed to be making you as a person happy. Number 8, they are impatient. This is definitely facts. Like I said, they could definitely learn to be more patient from their opposite sign, Libra. I'm just saying, though, I know that you guys are not going to take this to heart, because, Aryan nature just wants to do what it does. So carry on. As I mentioned prior, a disclaimer that not every single Aries will have these characteristics. So please be open-minded. And as I always say, aspects do play a huge role in how the energies play out. I just want to end off by saying, fire signs, we appreciate your tenacity, your passion, your dedication to every single thing you do or get involved in. Your ability to be the life of the party is always appreciated. I hope I was able to break Aries energy all the way down for you. My next video will be about Leo energy. Stay tuned for that. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comments down below where Aries energy shows up for you, what I may have left out, and your thoughts about Aries. Show me some love and subscribe to my channel. Again, your time spent is much appreciated. Till next time, you know what you do, so keep doing what you do. Peace, love, and most of all, light and